Okay. Hello. All right, now I can't get in. That's great. Okay, well this opens. So we will go in this way because I gotta go. Now the door staying locked is an annoying problem, but it could be an easy fix. However, later in this video, we're gonna get into some pretty serious problems with this vehicle.
So let's talk about the top 5 problems on the 6th generation Hyundai Elantra.
Our first problem is going to be door latch assemblies or door lock actuators, and what happens on these is basically it doesn't unlock right away when you press the unlock button. A lot of times it actually happens on the rear doors of these vehicles. It's a common issue, but in this particular case it's actually happening on the driver's door in the front here. So this one's not so severe. Usually you have to pull a couple times on the door handle after you unlock and the door will open, but on the first pull, as you saw earlier, well, it doesn't open. That could be an issue, obviously, and the only way to fix it on these is you just have to take the door apart, take the door latch assembly or the door lock actuator out and replace it. That should fix your problem. Our second problem is going to be located under the hood, and that is going to have to do with emissions control, more specifically the canister purge valve. What that does is it regulates the amount of gasoline fumes that come from the fuel tank so they can be recirculated and burnt into the engine instead of them going out into the atmosphere. These valves over time, especially as they get older, they can stick open, which means it's allowing too much flow. Sometimes they stick shut, and it's not allowing any flow when it's commanded by the computer. Regardless, it'll trigger a check engine light, and when you scan it, it'll tell you there's a problem. The best way to fix this is to just replace that valve, and off you go. Our third problem is going to be transmission shifting issues. Of course, the first thing you want to do is check your transmission fluid level and condition. Make sure it's not too low and that it's in good condition, because both of those things can cause transmission problems, whether it's shifting or other issues that you might be experiencing. Hopefully it's been serviced and it's in good condition. But a lot of times on these vehicles, what it comes down to is speed sensors. It could also be other sensors inside the transmission, but a lot of times the speed sensors will go bad, and therefore it cannot tell the transmission, or well, the computer of the transmission, when to shift. It doesn't know. So now you feel weird things as you're driving, it's not shifting properly, and of course it will trigger a check engine light. If you scan it with a scan tool, it'll tell you what sensor is going bad, and it'll basically lead you in the direction of what you need to fix. Once that's fixed, that problem should go away and you should be good to go. Our fourth problem is going to be ignition coils. They're located right at the top of your engine, real easy to get to and replace. You want to diagnose it to make sure it's actually this and not something else that is causing your issue. When these go bad, you get pretty bad misfires, so that's why I said you definitely want to make sure it's these and not something else. And when you replace them, don't just replace one, whichever one the culprit is. You want to replace all 4 because they've all been in here for the same amount of time and they've basically worn out the same amount. So do all 4. We do sell them at oneauto.com. They're all held in with a little bolt and a connector. Super easy job. So there you have it. After you do that, it should be fixed, and down the road you go. Our fifth problem is going to be the crankshaft position sensor, located on the side of the engine here towards the bottom. It reads at what position the crankshaft is as it's rotating. If it works intermittently, it can cause a stalling condition, and if it's completely broken and not reading anything, it can cause a no start condition. Both of these are bad, obviously, and it's going to have to be addressed. You can call your local dealer and see if there's any sort of coverage they can provide for this particular issue, or you can just replace it yourself. It's not that bad of a job on these. Regardless, it's going to have to be addressed so that the engine can run correctly. Once that's replaced, everything should be good to go. We have a bonus problem for you, and that, I guess, would be our 6th problem, and that has to do with the steering system. These vehicles have electronic power steering. There's an electric motor with sensors and wires and connectors and all that provide assistance for you when you're trying to steer your vehicle. What happens is either corrosion gets into connectors or wires get damaged and for whatever reason they get damaged. And there is improper signal or improper communication between sensors and the computer that controls the motor and basically the whole steering system. Worst case scenario, you're on the road. Obviously, that would be bad. Hopefully that does not happen to you. What can also happen is a complete loss of power steering. In that case, obviously, something has completely failed. Regardless, you're going to want to have the power steering system checked by a professional. If you have any doubts about this, like I said, is, to me, a serious safety concern, because if you can't steer, that's not good. So have it checked out and hopefully it's an easy fix, and then you can go down the road safely. After talking about all these problems, I just want to end on a positive note, and that is that reportedly on this generation, Hyundai has fixed the engine problems that were so widely known amongst these vehicles. And this one here is a good example of it. It's got almost 140,000 miles on it, and it had nothing but regular maintenance. So clearly, this one's good.